How is everyone doing? If everyone can you let me know if my mic sounds fine? I'm using a different mic as I am traveling. Thanks, John. Just let me know how it sounds. Might be a little more muffled. It's not as sick because I'm traveling, but sweet. Sounds good. All right. So, how did everyone do last week? It's loud. I can make it a little bit lower. There we go. It's a little bit lower. All right. As long as you guys can hear me fine, it is what it is. Subtitles? I don't know if that's even a thing, honestly. But I could definitely look into that, Alvin. It's a good idea. Okay. So, first of all, let's get into it. Sounds bad. Everyone's saying it sounds good. I'm not sure. So we do have a lot of events this week in the market. Let me pull it up. If you go into market insights in the Discord, I posted it right here. Yeah, it's only temporary. Just got a different mic this week. It's fine. So U.S. economic data this week. All right, CPI inflation tomorrow, Tuesday. Fed rate decision is Wednesday. Retail sales Thursday. Jobless claims Thursday. NY manufacturing index Thursday. Right, and a bunch of other things Friday. Need to keep an eye on this Fed rate decision on Wednesday. That's going to be a huge factor. Right, make sure you are aware of that. Okay. So what am I watching this week? SPY broke down towards the end of the week. I'm gonna lower this music a bit. You also add everyone you post things like that so you can get notified. Yeah, I could definitely do that. Seems like some people can't. I don't know. Oh yeah, and quad witching Friday. Is that this Friday? I thought it was. I guess so. But let's get into the charts. Right, so SPY broke down towards the end of the day, week. Right, we had multiple bounces off this bottom trend line. We took out the low, right, this previous low of 394.12, and we moved down to 393.15. So here in pre-market, right, we're sitting up a little bit from that drop down, right, 394.3. If that low gets taken out, 393.15, definitely going to look for puts and play that to the next level below, which is around this 391, this low right here. To be exact, it is 391.64. And then if that gets taken out, right, I'm looking at this next level below, right, which is this previous support and this previous resistance, which is 390.39. Right, so 390 just even works as well. Right, whole numbers are obviously always ideal. Okay. We do have multiple resistances above if we do see some upside today. 397.62 is this triple top that we had here. Maybe even a quad top if we zoom in a little bit. Right. 1 rejection, 2 rejection, 3. Right. Right? Was a previous resistance, was a previous support. Right? So that 397 level, super important. Okay. So that's the game plan. Let's take a look at VIX. Opening up 6.5%. Right, I would just watch the opening range that we developed here so far. Right, 24.44 and 24.18. Okay. QQQ. Right, we dropped down as well last week on Friday. But we do have, right, this previous bottom, right, was a previous resistance. Right, so acted multiple times, always look for the key levels. But we kind of have a bear flag. Right, this is just a reverse wedge to the downside. Right, if I inverse this, right, everyone would look to trade this to the upside and to play it to 278. Right, so always keep an eye on that. Right, we also have multiple bounces off this trend line here. Right, 1 bounce, 2, 3, and 4. Perfect breakout. Right, so keep an eye for downside on QQQ. Right, that's all invalidated. Right, any downside's invalidated if we break over 285.61. Okay, this is the inverse chart, so this is really what it looks like. But it's always good to take a look at the inverse chart. Right, I would look to play puts below 281.59. Anyone have any questions so far? All right, if no one has any questions, let's continue. All right, so let's go over my top setups for the week. All right, here are my top setups, the one with the red little indication here on the left-hand side, the bookmark. How do I inverse the chart? Is Alt-I on Windows or Option-I on a Mac, I believe. I always look at VIX. I'm not a fan of UVXY. I know some people just like UVXY, right? It's just preference. It's just what I've always stuck to. It's what I learned on, and it's just what I stick to. But everyone obviously has their own preference. People use different indications. People use different names. I use VIX. I like the way it moves. I understand the way it moves, and I'm just used to it. That's about it. Favorite time frames, probably between the 10 and the 30 minute. So Microsoft is one of my favorite setups here. Super clean pattern, right? Multiple bounces off this bottom trend line, 4 bounces to be exact, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're sitting right in this range here, right? We have multiple rejections across this top here, top trend line. If we can break over 248.74, which is this previous resistance, we should see a nice push up to around 250 plus, maybe even 251 plus. Okay. Look for a bounce off this bottom trend line. Definitely one of my favorite setups, right? Higher lows, lower highs is a big indication of a big move coming soon. Right? That's always what you want to look for. Higher lows, lower highs, right? Price action's getting tighter and tighter. Okay. Snow, right? Snow looks great here, right? If we go into a higher time frame, right? Here's the 1 hour, right? Higher lows, lower highs, and then if we go into a smaller time frame here, look at this little wedge that we have, right? So first of all, right off the lows, we have this move to the upside. We have a period of consolidation. We have a move to the upside, and now we have another period of consolidation, right? Nice falling wedge pattern. This is what I look for every single time. If this can break out over this pink trend line, I will look for a break to the upside and for a move to around 148.6. Right? This high here is what you want to target, right? How do I play this? I'll draw it out quickly. Right, so the entry point is right in this region here. As always, let me make it green. This would be the entry point. Stop loss would be the low if we decide to enter there. And the price target is the high. Or you can even enter a little earlier right here. That's how I would do it every single time. So Jason asked, when looking for breaks of certain prices, do you guys enter the trade as soon as price crosses that price, or do you wait for a candle close to that level, especially for SPX? So this is probably the most asked question that we get, right? People don't know if you wait for a certain candle close over it, or do you wait for, right, as soon as it touches that price. I personally don't wait for candle closes. Right? I don't really believe in that. It's never done me any good. Everyone obviously has their own strategy, right? There's definitely multiple ways to trade, you know, the same thing, and everyone has their own plan. Just make sure you have a plan in place, right? So what I like to do is, let's do an example quickly. All right, so for example, let's actually go to the 1 minute here, and we could play it out. All right, so let's go over this here. All right, so this was a previous resistance, right? Resistance, resistance, resistance. Right, so once this level breaks, right, first indication would be a break of this level here, right, 144.52. Right, so let's say the trigger level was 144.52. Okay, this is what the chart looks like. Okay. I'm looking to take an entry over 144.52 and confirmation over 144.97. Right, so if I hit play, I'm going to wait for a igniting candle through that level. Okay. So I do not like to wait for candle closes. Right, so I'll take it as soon as I see an igniting. What's an igniting candle? Right, a ton of volume coming through, and a big spike in a candle. Right, you want to see big candles as soon as it breaks a level. Right, these little tiny candles that happen here, right, low volume, and there's not much momentum. But when a resistance breaks, right, like this level here, you tend to see a big spike through, and then it will typically see continuation. Okay, so let's hit play and see what happens. All right, so right there, right, big spike through is where I'm taking the entry. Right, it looks a little weird because it's a replay, right? So it's not fluent, the candles, right? So it won't look exactly like that, but you guys should get the hint, right? So big spike through, you enter here, you see continuation, right? And then price targets are based on previous levels above, right? So you need to, you know, make sure you have the trade planned, and you take profits where you see fit, right? Let's see what happens. Right, a little pullback, fake out before the continuation or the breakout, right? And then it just continues to ride up. This period right here is also good, right? Look how it's consolidating above this previous resistance, right? Higher lows, lower highs. Right? If we go on to right a little closer, right? Notice how higher lows, lower highs. Right? Even though it's on the 1 minute, I do not like to plan the 1 minute. I never do, and I suggest no one should ever do that. It's too hectic. 5 minutes should be the lowest time frame you ever trade on, in my opinion. Right, because on the 1 minute, things get very hectic. Right, it goes all over the place to get faked out. But on this time frame, this should be the lowest you trade on. Is right, just looks you know, very simple. It keeps you more patient, and it keeps you, you know, more humble, and it's a little bit easier to trade on. But higher lows and lower highs, right? Dream Team asked, what does higher lows and lower highs exactly mean? Right, it means, right, buyers are showing, so in an uptrend, Right? If we're in an overall uptrend and there's higher lows and lower highs, it's a market consolidation phase where people are starting to pick up shares and bulls are in position or are winning. Right? In a downtrend, it would mean, right, it's a period of consolidation before the next move to the downside. Okay. So hopefully that answered all your questions. That's how I trade this though. And this is what I'm looking at today on Snow. Yeah, appreciate it. If everyone could drop a like, I would appreciate that. Dash is another setup I'm keeping an eye on today. Right, nice flag below resistance. Right, we had a breakout at the end of the day on Friday. And if we could break over 55.54, we should see a push up to around 56. I'll get the exact level for you. All right, 56.22. And we do have a gap to fill to around 57. That's a nice clean setup on Dash. Tesla. Tesla has a big head and shoulders. Right, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Kind of had a flag here, was looking for a potential breakout, but we are opening below that double bottom that we had on Friday. And the next level below is 175.33, right? This previous support acted as a triple top here. Right, if we inverse the chart and we go to a higher time frame here, right, this is a perfect inverse head and shoulders now. Whoops. All right, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, multiple bounces off this trend line here and continuation. Right, so potentially you could see a move right through 175.33 and then to around 168 or so. Next setup I'm looking at, Netflix. Right, previous resistance, couldn't hold over, right, gapped up or moved up for a bit on Friday. Right, yeah, this was just Friday. Yep, so just on Friday. Right, and now we have a huge gap to fill to the downside. Right, so if this double bottom breaks 319.52, right, we could potentially see a gap fill back to the downside. Right, so just keeping an eye on that for Netflix. Right, I'll set my alert on the trend line and I will be good to go. Right, that way I don't have to keep an eye on it the entire time. Right, I know a lot of people like to trade with like 20 charts in front of them. I can't do that. I like to keep it simple. I like to just have one chart and I'll filter through using the space bar and shift space. Right, shift space will go up on my watch list and space will go down. Right, if you ever have any questions about like what keys you can use, I'm pretty sure there is, how do I find it? Settings maybe? I know it's somewhere. Oh, this probably. Keyboard and shortcuts, here it is. Right, so here's all the shortcuts that you could do. Right, for the chart, indicators, watch lists, right, everything. Yep, these are the hotkeys. What's up, John? Right, so make sure you take a look at these. It's always good to know. Right, it helps. It's definitely much quicker. These are the main ones I use, though, right on the chart. Okay. So, next chart, right besides Netflix, NVIDIA. Right, so NVIDIA, multiple bounces off this bottom trend line here. We have this previous resistance that acted as support here on Friday. Right, and right? Now we're up a little bit in pre-market, right? We're down overall, but oh wait, no, that's from yesterday. We're up 0.5% here in pre-market. Excuse me. Looking at the wrong number. Right, this previous resistance, if we bounce up to the upside and reject this 172.65 level, I would look at puts. But definitely not my top setup, but I'm going to keep an eye on it for sure. I'll set an alert at this trend line here. And then Amazon. I'm going to move up, actually. It looks great. Right, perfect flag. Right, so again, whoever asked before, what does higher lows, Dream Team asked. So, right, higher lows and lower highs is an indication of continuation. Right, so this typically will continue in the direction that it's going. Right, we're moving to the downside. Right, we have higher lows, lower highs. Right, if I inverse the chart, we have a perfect setup. Right, previous resistance acting as a support, higher lows, lower highs. Right, typically, let me turn this off. Right, we'll look something like this. Right, we consolidate, and then it continues. Right, that's how the flags work. Okay. So definitely, I'm going to move this up, actually. All right, so top setups would be Snow, Amazon, Microsoft, Dash. Tesla might need a little bit more time. Netflix looks good. And NVIDIA is pretty clean. Also Apple, though. Here's Apple. Right, again. Higher lows, lower highs. 3 bounces off this bottom trend line here. Right, watch for a break of 142.07. Right, is this previous level below? Okay. Definitely keeping an eye on that. Right, Apple tends to lead in the market. Right, if Apple is weaker than SPY, SPY will typically follow. Right, so again, here's SPY. Definitely keep an eye on this. VIX, right, just trading within this range here, so you could definitely trade SPY based off of this as well. There's multiple ways to trade different things. Okay. So this is what I'm looking at. Looks pretty good. What time is CPI? I believe it's usually at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. To make sure. The Discord. Right, go into market resources or market insights under all access. And here is all the data. Let me try and open this a little bit bigger so I can read it. Okay. All right, here's all the data. All right, rate decision, 2 p.m. Here's all the numbers. CPI is 8:30 tomorrow morning. Okay. It shows you the consensus. It shows you the prior. Right. So this is a great little sheet here that Cedar posted. Right. So a big number here. And CPI as well. Right. And then she posts the breakdown as well. And Powell speaks at 2:30 always, right? Numbers get released at 2, and then Powell speaks at 2:30. All right, always take a look at this section. Everyone posts some great content here. Streeter always posts her game plan. Great content. Right, you should read this every morning. Right, just to familiarize yourself with the levels, you know, how she trades, and so on, right? Ava, also amazing content she always posts. So, right, always take a look at this market insight section. Yeah, my challenge account will start in the new year, right? So 2023. Which is January 2nd is when I will be starting a new challenge account. I took some time off from the challenge account, right? Focused on my main account and focused on, you know, quality trades and quality alerts. And I will start a new one on January 2nd. With that being said, 2 minutes now to market open, or a minute and a half. Let's switch over to the Discord. I will be seeing all of you there. Again, appreciate everyone stopping by as always. I will see you in the Discord. Have a good rest of your day, and let's make some money.